A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A+. English, that's so much fun. English education for you and everyone, so come along. Learn some grammar, learn a phrase, learn something new every day. Learn the A+ way. Hey, it's time to start the show. Are you ready? Good, 'cause here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A+ English.
Hi everyone, welcome back to A+ English. I'm Pat.
I'm Elsie.
And we're on day 2 of our story article about the book The Tiger Rising. Yesterday we met Rob, who was having a very hard time. His mum had passed away, he's got a bad rash, he's moved to a new place and everyone's mean to him, all the other kids. And so he takes his emotions and shoves them in an imaginary suitcase in his mind so he doesn't have to deal with them. And that relates to our warm-up question. Who can you talk to about your emotions?
Yeah, that person must be very important,
yes,
right?
A very special person.
So, mostly I talk to my husband about my emotions.
And similarly, I would talk to my wife.
Right.
Is there anybody else?
Maybe sometimes I'll talk to my cat.
Okay. I have a few close friends who I would talk to about something like that. And my brothers.
Your brothers?
Yeah, I feel I could talk to them about that kind of thing.
I think it's very good to have siblings.
Yeah, because you've grown up together, you know each other very well. It's a shame Rob doesn't have a sibling.
I don't either.
Yeah, poor you. It's somebody you can kind of play with and confide in. Confide, C-O-N-F-I-D-E. Talk to about important stuff like that. So what's going to happen with Rob? Let's read through day 2 and find out.
The Tiger Rising. Warm-up question. Who can you talk to about your emotions?
Rob's father locks his bad emotions away too.
Crying won't bring your mother back,
He says coldly. His father won't even say Rob's mother's name, Caroline. One day, Rob walks in the woods. He finds a tiger in a cage. Knowing about the tiger makes Rob feel a little less sad. A new student gets on the school bus that day. Her name is Sistine. Like the chapel, she says. She's having a hard time too. However, when kids are mean to her, she fights back. The school principal tells Rob to stay home until his rash gets better. The rash might be contagious, and no one wants to catch it. Sistine brings Rob his homework. They become friends.
So the article starts and it actually talks about emotions again, and we learn it's not just Rob who's got some kind of imaginary suitcase in his brain. We see Rob's father locks his bad emotions away too.
OK, 所以 Rob 会这样做，他的爸爸也是这样做，他也是会把坏情绪锁起来，不去管它。那这个 lock something away， 那就是把东西锁起来。
Yeah, you could lock away real things like money, valuable papers. You know, you have a hotel safe or some place in your home. You could go to a bank and put things in a safe box. But we often use this to talk about locking away feelings, emotions, secrets, that kind of thing. You just hide it inside you and never let it out. So what's an example of how Rob's dad does this? We see him talking to Rob and he says, "Crying won't bring your mother back," he says coldly. So he says it in a cold way. No warmth, no love, no real emotion to comfort his son. He's just saying, "Stop crying, it's no good."
所以爸爸很冷漠的说什么呢？哭是不会换回你的母亲的。
I mean, that is true, but it's not the best way to comfort somebody. We also see his father won't even say Rob's mother's name, Caroline.
OK，Caroline 是他母亲的名字，可是爸爸甚至不愿意提起，甚至这个字呢，我们用的是 even， 怎么使用它 ？Let's find out。Even 是个副词哦，它代表的是甚至、即使。所以刚刚我们讲到课文里面说啊，他爸爸甚至不说 Rob 妈妈的名字。那如果呢，你在 even 后方加上 though 两个字搭配使用。Even though 代表的是即使、虽然。So for example, even though she didn't like it, she still went hiking with her husband. 虽然她不喜欢，但她还是跟老公一起爬山。那 even 还可以做什么样的修饰呢？它可以去修饰比较级，加强语气。所以我们也可以说啊 ，The traffic today is even busier than yesterday. 代表今天的交通比昨天还要更忙碌。那单字例句给的是啊 I was so busy today, I didn't even eat lunch. 我今天真的很忙，我甚至没有时间吃午餐。
Yeah, we use even to add a bit of emphasis to kind of talk about something that is surprising because most people would have thought this is easy. You might say, I'm really bad at Chinese. I can't even say hello.
Really? 哈罗
Oh, hello. Yeah, I can. If we do it like that, yes, sure.
Good. OK, 所以呢，他爸爸不愿意提到妈妈的名字是为什么呢？那最后要怎么样去排解这样的情绪？
Yeah, he's just trying to use that to sort of distance himself, force those feelings down, and not deal with him. Okay, so what happens next in the story? The article says, one day, Rob walks in the woods.
有一天呢，他就走进了树林里头。
And this is where the story starts to get a little unusual. We see in the article, he finds a tiger in a cage.
他发现一只老虎。那老虎在哪里 ？Where is the tiger?
Not running around the woods.
No.
I mean, you don't actually get tigers in Florida. They don't come from that part of the world.
So this tiger is in a cage.
Makes sense.
What is a cage? Let's take a look. Cage 这个名词啊，代表的是笼子或是兽笼。那小型的呢，可以是个鸟笼 ，a bird cage。大型的笼子还可以装狮子，就像是我们这篇课文看到的。那给同学们一个例句咯 For example, the brave man went into the lion's cage， 代表那个勇敢的人走进了狮子的笼子。那单词例句给的是啊 You can see animals like lions and tigers in cages at the zoo。你可以在动物园里面的笼子当中看到狮子和老虎等动物。
Now that's kind of true, but most zoos these days try to keep their animals in larger, open areas. They don't have the bars that a cage would have anymore.
Right, it's better to put animals in cages.
Right, you may need to if you're moving them or for some other reason like that. The word zoos like to use now is enclosure, which sort of means, yes, they can't get out, but they have a lot of freedom to move around. There's a lot of trees and they try and recreate that animal's area. Still not brilliant for the animal, but certainly more than a cage. Cages can be useful, particularly birds, if you don't want them to fly off. There's a restaurant near my house, and outside there's a parrot in a cage, and it says bye-bye if you walk past him. So we've got this tiger in a cage, and the article says, knowing about the tiger makes Rob feel a little less sad. Now, maybe that's just because it's a cool thing to know, it's an interesting secret. Maybe he thinks, well, at least I'm not in a cage. My life is slightly better than this poor tiger's. We're not quite sure.
所以走进森林里面的 Rob 看到那只老虎之后，他就比较不难过一些。
Okay, now something else changes around the same time. In fact, that very day. The article says a new student gets on the school bus that day.
Get on 这个片语呢，后面可以加上的是可以直立进入的交通工具，像是 get on the bus、get on the plane、get on the train 都可以。那如果是要弯腰弯身进去的呢，你用 get in or get into， 好，或者是呢 get in、get into 后面也可以加一个地方。
Right, you could say, after I got in or into the hotel room, I rested on the bed. You could say, let's get into the taxi now, because we tend to use in and into for those more private types of transport, like cars, like taxis. But if it's a larger public transport, we tend to say on, get on the bus. It's time to get on the plane. So there's a new student in the school or getting on the school bus. We see in the article, her name is Sistine, like the chapel, she says.
Chapel 代表的是礼拜堂，那它的规模会比 church 教堂来的小一些。那这个名字，这个女生的名字是 Sistine， 她跟罗马的西斯丁礼拜堂是同名。
Right, a chapel could be a very small church, or it could be a space inside the church. Her name relates to the Sistine Chapel, which is in Rome, and it's famous for its kind of beautiful ceiling paintings which were done by Michelangelo. So Rob is on the bus with Sistine, and he finds out she's having a hard time too. Maybe because she's a new student or for some other reason.
So Rob is having a bad time, she is too. 他也过得不好。
But they deal with it in different ways. We see in the article. However, when kids are mean to her, she fights back.
Okay, so kids here are mean to her too. 但是她呢，跟 Rob 不一样，她是会反抗的，会反击的。Fight back 就是这个意思。
Yeah, and this is a difficult kind of one because sometimes you do need to fight back and the bullies might leave you alone, but sometimes fighting back is worse. It's a lot of it depends on the situation. But here's another example of how we can use the phrase, the man tried to take the woman's purse, but she fought back and he ran away. So, what happens next? We see in the article, the school principal tells Rob to stay home until his rash gets better.
OK， 有一个人跟他说啊，你如果身上有疹子，那你就待在家里面，等疹子痊愈之后再回到学校来。这个人呢是 school principal， 他是谁？在学校是什么角色？我们来看一下吧。Principal 代表的是校长，然后注意它的字尾是 AL 结尾的哦。So who is your school principal？ 你学校的校长是谁呢？你知道他的名字吗？那另外啊 ，principal 也可以当作形容词来使用，代表是主要的。所以我们可以说 ，Her principal reason for moving to this city was to be with her family。她搬到这个城市的主要原因就是要跟她的家人一起。那单字例句给的是呢 ，The new principal at my school changed some of the school rules。我学校的新校长更改了一些小规。
So for me, this is a word that I didn't use growing up, and we would only see it on TV. Because in the UK, we call a principal a head teacher.
Head teacher.
Yeah, or just head for short. He's the head. He's the head teacher.
OK， 那这边呢，我们说校长要 Rob 待在家里面，直到疹子好了再来学校。这个直到啊，我们用的是 until 这个连接词哦。至于怎么使用它呢，我们先进到 Magic Box 听讲师讲解了。
Magic Box。
花妈，我辛苦了这么久，总算盼到了我们全家要一起去泡温泉，放个假，顺便跨年啦。I will not be back until next year。还没有2023哦，我可是不会回来的哟。大家明年见啦。英文里面这个单字呢 until 中文很常翻译为直到，它的用法呢总是让同学不飒飒，但是呢别担心哦，你的不了解直到今天啦，我们呢一起来破解它咯。until 这个字呢，先说肯定的用法，它呢就表示直到什么时间点，它是一直维持这个状态哦。比方说呢 ，This ticket is valid until the end of this year。直到呢今年结束之前，这张票都有效。或者是呢，我说I will stay here until 10 p.m. 直到呢晚上10点呢，我都会待在这边。所以呢，直到这个时间点呢，以前的这个状态我们呢就用这个肯定的 until 的句型。那否定的 not until 又是什么意思呢？中文呢我们会翻译为直到什么时间点才怎么样。好像呢很难理解但是呢其实我们看例句就懂了。比方说我研究这个订饭店研究的忘了时间了。I didn't go to bed until 3 a.m. 直到呢凌晨3点我才去睡觉。其实呢，只是中文的翻译有点不同哦，意思跟刚刚肯定的都是一样的哦。直到3点前我都没有去睡觉，就是这个意思啦。只是呢，这样用中文听起来好像怪怪的，所以呢，我们才说直到凌晨3点才去睡觉。其实呢，只是换句话说啦。我们呢可以再看另外一个句子了。We didn't have dinner until Dad came back home. 直到这个老爸回家前呢，哎呀，我们都没吃晚餐。意思呢就是说，直到老爸到家，我们才吃晚餐。直到这个时间点之前呢，事情都没发生，也就是说时间到了才发生。所以呢，其实意思都是一样，只是翻译不同，你可别搞混啦。另外呢 not until 的句型呢很常搭配 it is 虚主词开头或者是倒装开头的用法来强调时间点。比方说呢，看到这个句子 It was not until Dad came back home that we had dinner。 在这边呢，我们就把刚刚的句子改写了，用 it is not until 开头哦，来强调这个发生的时间点。我们一直等到老爸到家才吃晚餐呢，这样子的意思咯。希望呢你也学会咯。
So why do they send Rob home? I mean, what's the deal here? Do they just think, oh, well, you poor boy, you get better? Do they think maybe that'll stop the kids being mean? It's actually a worse reason. The article says the rash might be contagious and no one wants to catch it.
Contagious 这个形容词是疾病具有传染性的，那当然有很多疾病是具有传染性的。A lot of diseases are contagious, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, some diseases like heart disease or cancer or other things like that, they're not contagious. You get them because your body's unhealthy or you just kind of have bad luck and get a condition. Contagious diseases are usually the ones caused by virus, bacteria. So colds, flu, and obviously COVID-19 is a contagious virus.
OK， 那如果我们要说染上疾病，这个动词我们可以用哪一个字呢？我们来看一下吧。我们可以用到 catch 这个动词来表示染上某个疾病，那它的三态变化是不规则的，所以要小心哦。是 catch, caught, caught。那我们可以染上什么样的疾病呢？当然是有传染性的，像是 catch a cold、catch the flu 或是 catch COVID。那 catch 这个字当然还有抓住、拦住或是接住的意思，像是 catch a bug， 你抓住一只虫 ；catch a ball， 你接住一颗球。那单字例句给的是呢 ，Josie caught a cold and was sick for several days。Josie 染上了感冒，生病了好几天。
You could also say a lot of kids catch different diseases or bugs when they start school, because they're mixing with all these other kids and it's easy to catch things from each other.
对，都会在学校里面传染。那疹子可能会传染，所以 Rob 就必须待在家里面。What about his homework?
That's true. I mean, I'm not sure when this book is set, but maybe it's not like these days where a lot of classes have started being online and things can be sent. This is maybe a little bit earlier than that. So what we find out is that Sistine brings Rob his homework. They become friends.
Sistine 就帮他带作业。那他这样帮助他之后呢，他们就变成了 good friends， 好朋友。
Yeah, I mean, that's probably expected. They're both new in the area. They're both getting kind of picked on by these other
so
kids.
They help each other.
They got something in common. So Rob's life isn't much better. He's still got issues with his emotions, his father. He's still dealing with things. He's still got the rash. But at least he has a friend, and at least he's got that cool kind of secret tiger that he knows about.
Right.
We'll find out the end of his story tomorrow, but for now, let's go to our review time activity.
Review time.
So we will review a few of today's word power words with questions. A big one here. Did you ever have to go to the principal's office at school?
Did I? Yes, I did. When I was in the elementary school.
What did you do?
I was the 6th grader. I think I broke one of the school rules, but
What?
I don't remember what it was now.
Oh, okay.
So I went in, and of course the principal was mad at me, and he talked to me for a bit, and then he called my mom.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Naughty.
What about you?
Well, I did once, but it ended up being actually a big joke. Okay. So I have two younger brothers.
Yes.
Okay. And there would have been a time where all three of us were at the school, the same elementary school at the same time. Me as the oldest, the other ones there. Now our school was a small school, one class per grade, so not many kids. You could get all the students in the hall at once to do the kind of morning talk, morning assembly, we called it. Now, my friend sitting next to me was making me laugh by doing something stupid, and I laughed loudly. So they said, okay, you've got to go to see the head teacher, the principal. My youngest brother thought it was so funny that I got kicked out.
So he started
laughing and he got kicked out and had to go to the principal's office. At that point, the middle brother is like, I'm going to be as quiet as possible. But all the teachers were trying to find a reason just for
send him?
Just so they could say all three brothers got sent at the same time. So nothing serious, and they kind of treated it as a joke. Let's get all three of them in trouble at once.
So were you three all in the principal's office at the same time?
No, the middle one never went. It was me and the youngest, and the principal just said, don't be silly in those schools. Nothing serious, just try and be quiet. People are talking, don't be silly.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's something I'll always remember from that time. Quickly, last one then. When was the last time you caught a disease?
Maybe a couple months ago.
Okay.
When I caught COVID.
Oh, you had COVID. Okay, there we go. So, bad luck. I haven't caught that yet, so it's probably been maybe a small like cold sort of 4 or 5 months ago. Kind of sick one day, gone the next day. Not COVID, I tested. Okay, that's all we got time for, but join us tomorrow for part 3 of this story. Bye for now.
Bye.
The Tiger Rising. Warm-up question. Who can you talk to about your emotions?
Rob's father locks his bad emotions away too.
Crying won't bring your mother back.
He says coldly. His father won't even say Rob's mother's name, Caroline. One day, Rob walks in the woods. He finds a tiger in a cage. Knowing about the tiger makes Rob feel a little less sad. A new student gets on the school bus that day. Her name is Sistine. Like the chapel, she says. She's having a hard time too. However, when kids are mean to her, she fights back. The school principal tells Rob to stay home until his rash gets better. The rash might be contagious, and no one wants to catch it. Sistine brings Rob his homework. They become friends. Word power.
Even. Even. I was so busy today, I didn't even eat lunch. I was so busy today, I didn't even eat lunch. Cage. Cage. You can see animals like lions and tigers in cages at the zoo. You can see animals like lions and tigers in cages at the zoo. Principal. Principal. The new principal at my school changed some of the school rules. The new principal at my school changed some of the school rules. Catch. Catch. Catch, caught, caught. Josie caught a cold and was sick for several days. Josie caught a cold and was sick for several days.
认识字汇
Chapel. Chapel. Contagious. Contagious.